Well, hello, everybody, and welcome once again to the Adventures Travel Club television show. Where are we, Betty?
We are going down the Danube River on a wonderful cruise.
And everybody says it's a blue Danube, but when you look closely at the water, it's the brown Danube.
The brown Danube.
And you know, I know why that is, too.
Oh, you're so smart.
Huh?
I expect you to know all these answers.
No, well, the reason I know that is because it starts in the Black Forest.
Yeah.
You know, what they call Schwarze.
That makes real sense.
So it's Schwarzewasser.
Yes.
It's black water, right? Or brown water is what it's turned out to be.
Oh, I'm always impressed by what you tell me, honestly.
Maybe I read that somewhere anyway, or I made it up.
What do you mean, maybe you read it? How else would you have gotten that information? But anyways, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
It really is, and we're having a wonderful time. However, we're not starting our adventure here. We're starting in Germany. We're going to start in Wiesbaden.
In Wiesbaden, yes. Then going up to Lucerne.
Yeah, and we have beautiful places to go, and we want you to join us. And in a few weeks, you'll join us right here on the Blue Danube. So right now, let's enjoy Germany.
Deutschland, welcome to Germany. You have arrived at one of the great airports of the world. Am I on camera?
Yes, you
are. Don't do this. I'm not ready for it.
Neither are we.
I haven't been to makeup.
Well, I'll tell you what we're ready for right now is we've just left the airport, or just about to leave the airport here in Frankfurt, and we're going to go on to Wiesbaden, which will be our first stop on this wonderful, wonderful trip, right, Betty?
You know, take a look at these gorgeous people that we have on this bus. We just had this long journey, and look, they're as fresh as can be.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you sleep on the plane on the way over?
No. Oh, I say no. I always say no, but I'm sure I doze off some.
I know you do, because when I'm walking around the aisles, I see you. I see your book is halfway on the floor.
No, you just see my eyes closed. Anyway, this time
you're just resting.
I brought the headphones, you know, and I did have a tape of a book that I could read. So yeah,
good.
Yeah, very smart.
Makes the time go by real fast,
It
doesn't
does make it go by fast.
Well, I like to sleep on the way over.
Oh, well, you have no problem, but I truly do. But anyways, that's all over with when you get off. You forget about it, like having a baby. You forget the pain.
Oh, well, you can say that. I can't.
All
right. Anyway, this is still part of the airport complex here in Frankfurt. And, of course, Frankfurt is one of the largest airports, I believe, in the world.
It's a terrible airport.
One.
Yeah, I hate it. I really hate it. It's so busy.
It is
and there's
big.
so many different directions you have to take when you get inside.
Hey, speaking about directions, this is a direction finder. Now, this is in the bus that we're taking. And this is I don't know exactly what you call that, but I'd say it's
like a map.
It's a map, right? And it comes by satellite, you know, and so the bus driver never got lost. It was wonderful.
I should get one.
Yes, you should.
I need one.
Right. Well, this is, we finally got into the hotel, and it's time for us to have our first meal in Germany. And
hello, Gloria. Hello, Charles.
We are in Wiesbaden right here, and we're waiting to be served and have a wonderful dinner. And then, of course, after that, it's probably be time for us to take a little walk around the hotel area, and then probably going to get a good night's sleep so that we'll be fresh for the next morning.
For the next morning, yeah.
So anyway,
but it was nice. And
it was
the table setting was so nice. The food was excellent. Even when you're tired, you know, you're hungry, and oh boy, that was a real conversation going, right?
Right. Well, now it is the next morning, and we're on the bus, and everybody's very refreshed, of course, and we're going to go and take our drive into the city of Wiesbaden. Now, Betty, you know, we'd been to Wiesbaden before, probably about 10 years ago, and we stayed at a different place. And as we're driving in here, we get a chance to see a little bit more. I was very, very impressed with the city.
Yeah, it's a beautiful city. That we went at a different time of the year before, but because they've had so much rain, everything is so beautiful and green and clean.
Oh, very much so. Very much so.
I love the buildings, the facades. Aren't they just neat?
They are. They're really. It's sort of like a picture book, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
And that's kind of the fun, I think, of going to Europe all the time.
I'm sure it is. I'm sure
great.
it is. So different from our environment. The place, you know, although some of the houses are pretty close together, but it's just different.
Right, it is. And these are some of the big houses, of course, that we're driving by right now. And Wiesbaden is a very affluent area. In fact, it really is a seat of culture in Germany. Lots of theaters, museums, lots of things that are going on all of the time, all year round. Here in Wiesbaden. So if you have time and you're in Wiesbaden, you can, you know, pick up a magazine and see what's going on here in this wonderful, wonderful city.
Marv, was it in Wiesbaden that they do some make so many movies, or am I making?
Yeah, probably Munich. Munich
Munich
is more,
more,
Munich
huh?
is more of a center for film in
I
Germany.
just thought it was so
But
beautiful
there
there
could
that,
be
yeah.
there could be up here too. I'm
Okay.
not sure. Now this, Betty, is a place we didn't have a chance to go into because we happened to see it during the daytime. I take that back. A few people did walk into there. That's the casino in Wiesbaden.
I did.
Did you go inside?
Yeah, I
Oh,
just
you did?
peeked in. Yeah, not to gamble.
Were people gambling that hour of the morning?
Yeah, they gamble all the time. I think it's
Really?
always open. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, see, I didn't know
But
that. I
they
was out there with
charge
the
you.
camera. So.
Most of them, they charge you to go in, so you just kind of peek in and see
Yeah.
what's going on.
Well, I think though in these casinos that you see in Europe, I mean, you get a little dressy to go in there, right?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
I mean, you're
It's
just not going to go in your
Vegas or-
Levi's
no.
and shorts.
No.
So
It's
you're-
very... Well, they play for high stakes, too. There's not... it's real gambling.
Betty, this I had to take a picture
Oh,
of.
yeah, isn't that cute?
This is a little Mercedes. In fact, they call it a baby Benz, and it looks sort of like a Volkswagen. But you see these on the highway all over Europe.
I thought you had that for a present for me.
Oh, you did?
When I saw that, I thought,
Oh.
oh, Marv, you shouldn't have done that.
Doggone it, Betty! You ruined the
I was-
surprise.
I know. And it really worried me. How was I going to get it home?
Well, I haven't seen any of them here in the United States, and I talked to a couple of members of the Mercedes-Benz Car Club, and I say, have you seen this thing? He said, yeah, we've seen it in pictures, but we haven't seen any here in the United States. Anyway, we're going to one of the little centers here, and this is a beautiful church that was sitting right here right by the side of this square. And again, I'm kind of crazy for architecture, and the architecture, of course, that you see is really, really, I think, just extraordinary. And look, Betty, there's even a painting over there on the
Yeah.
side of the building.
Yeah.
Really nice.
Look at that beautiful face.
Isn't that nice?
Yeah.
And you have to think that this is, this are centuries old.
Oh, sure.
I mean, just centuries old.
Looks
And-
like they started to do a little cleaning of
I think
her
so.
and didn't quite get
Yeah.
finished. Huh?
Well, of course, we saw
is-
that all over Europe for the year 2000.
Maybe she just didn't get her makeup finished.
That could have been. I don't know. That could have been. But of course, the lovely thing, of course, that we see are fountains everywhere, and it was no exception in this particular area. It was really great. It was nice, brisk morning. We had a little bit of drizzle, but not very, very much. In fact, on the whole trip, I was really surprised because we only had a couple of days where you really had to kind of bring out the umbrellas, and then it wasn't for very
That
long.
wasn't long, no. But I was dressed warmly there. But I
Well,
always
you
tell
always need
everybody,
to dress warmly.
Bring a sweater.
Right.
Always bring a sweater, just in case.
In
In your suitcase.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
Now, remember we just mentioned about one of the buildings being painted a little bit ago? Now, here's another one on the side. It's almost like a
weird.
optical illusion, isn't
That's
it? Yeah.
weird.
But you see this, in various places in Europe, you see the old, and then you see some of the new things with it. But these are these little stalls that you see right here. These are great places because this is a market day here in Wiesbaden, and this, of course, is where an awful lot of people, if you're not going to a supermarket, this is a place to go. And I love to hang out at these
they're
places.
fun. They're fun. Seems to me we did buy some fruit there.
Mm-hmm.
When you travel, you're just dying for fresh fruit.
Right.
And if we spend about a half hour there,
Yeah, I think we did as we
Yeah,
were walking around,
lots
and
of
there's
walking
always so
through.
much. There's always so much to see there. And of
This
course,
is-
I love the flowers.
yeah, this is a wonderful thing about going on a tour on a bus. You don't whiz by. You have an opportunity to get out and walk around and savor the atmosphere and the smells and the whole.
It's nice.
great. It really is.
And all of these vendors are always very, very nice folks too. Now, here, as you can see, here's some of our people, and they're buying some of the fruit right there, some of the local produce. So it's very, very nice, and it's great. You get a chance then to mingle a little bit. Again,
what does that say?
it says. Yeah, that's what it said. Yeah,
Oh, come on.
I don't know. Do you remember your Latin?
No, but
Yeah, probably. I thought it was in Latin. I'm not sure. I don't know. Anyway, everywhere you look, too, beautiful fountains and sculptured grounds, I think, which is just really nice. It's restful. You can just go and, if you have extra time, whatever, especially if you've been walking and around, the city or around the town, there's always a fountain and a park that you can just relax and enjoy. It's so nice.
Yeah, I get bored after a bit though with just sitting and looking at scenery. I gotta get on the move.
You gotta get on the move?
I want to see everything there is to see while I'm there.
Well,
Figure
that's
to
of course
rest
you want to
when-
do that too, but
figure-
you've got to rest a little
Figure
bit.
you rest when you get back to your hotel.
Oh,
You know?
okay.
Does that make sense? No, I guess
No,
not. but-
no, because I don't want to go back until the very last minute that I have to. Anyway, this is still part of that complex right around the casino and the cultural places right here too. I want to say the theater. That's what I'm trying to think of.
Oh,
There were
that
3 or 4 theaters that were located in here, as well as the opera house as well. So, just beautiful, beautiful
What is
area.
this, dear, Marv? What
Pardon
was
me?
that? What was that we were just looking at?
That was
the
a
sign
building.
and the little circle and that. What was that?
A directional sign pointing us over here to
Oh, thank you.
the local
I put
the
you on
local train
spot.
station. Yeah, yeah, and I love the train stations.
Oh,
of
they
course, in
are
there.
fun,
Aren't
aren't
beautiful?
they? Yes.
And you can find everything in there too. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the whole thing. It
And
just
they
is
are
great.
a bustle of excitement.
They certainly
Always,
are.
aren't they?
Yeah,
There's
they really are, because the train system, of course, in Europe is
fantastic.
Tremendous historical significance, this mighty river. Starting at Rotterdam in the Netherlands, in the north, to coming down all the way to where we will see, and it still flows on from where we see the mighty Rhine Falls, which at the moment, again, you have lucked out. The Rhine Falls at the moment are spectacular. Why? Because the snow this past winter, and it was snowing just a matter of weeks ago, believe it or not, well after Easter, there's been so much snow that the runoff makes the Rhine Falls today. I'll be honest, I was there last week. I have never, ever seen it as it is right now.
Well, we have arrived at the village of Rudesheim, and of course, this is where we're going to take the boat, and this is where we're going to do our cruise on the Rhine River. We've been here a couple of times, and I really like this little town, don't you, Betty?
It's darling.
And-
It's darling. Of course, they all are.
Yeah, they are, but this is really great, and this is, of course, has a tremendous history in Rudesheim. I mean, it goes back for forever, it seems like. Anyway, in the 13th century, for a short time, this whole area developed into a fearful robber's den. How about that?
Robber's
A
Den.
robber's den.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what
And
it
where is
said.
the name of the town?
Rudesheim.
Rudesheim.
Right, and it was
Okay.
it was.
Oh, they would rob from the river. Sure.
Well,
huh?
sure, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that was the main
Okay.
highway.
That would be just like the stagecoaches in the
Uh-huh.
West, huh?
Exactly. And this is the main highway, or was the main highway. Well, it still is, because you see an awful lot of ships that, especially barges that are going up and down the Rhine River, and we found the same thing, of course, on the Danube as well.
Now look
So,
at the
yeah.
people. Excuse me, I'm
Yeah.
sorry, but look at the waiting for. Oh no, that's on there now.
Sure.
But we waited for what, about 10 minutes?
Yeah, it
to
wasn't
get
very
on?
long.
No.
Because the boats that we're on, I mean, they're bigger than ferry boats, but that's exactly what they're doing. They're going from town to town. They will stop on one side of the river, then on the other side of the river as we keep going, up or down the Rhine River, whichever it may happen to be. And you can see other ships that are here
Oh, yeah.
on the river too. And of course, there are so many of these little villages or little towns that are there. It's absolutely wonderful. What do you have there? Apple juice?
Oh no, I don't. I have that beautiful Rhine wine.
Rhine wine.
And you see the grapes growing there.
Exactly.
And they do have a wonderful, very, very nice German wine.
Yeah, it's great. And of course, the castles that you see on the Rhine, or some of these, of course, are, as you see right here, are really the ruins of some of the castles. But some of the castles have actually been converted into hotels. Now, this one here is the Berg Ehrenfels. I don't speak
You
German
said,
that well.
Betty, I'm not going to name the
I'm not gonna name
castles
the-
because the
no.
names are too hard.
That's right. But anyway, it was built around the 13th century as a lookout. There's a lookout tower there for the castle, and it had quite a history. But if you're interested in that, well, the next thing to do is to go to Europe with us the next time, and we can find out more about it. Okay, I have to admit, I do have a book on all of these castles, but you see so many of them, and then try to identify them. It's really something.
I don't think it's necessary to identify them. I think that what you need to do is just to look at the castle, enjoy the magnificence of them, and discuss the
Sure.
architecture and why did they build at that particular spot, and why so many.
Well, this was the Berg Rheinstein. This
There
was a
was-
former imperial customs fortress, and it was the first castle to be rebuilt in the 19th century.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Oh, that's very important. I'm
Yeah.
glad you told me that. But see, I can see now why some of the need was there because they collected tax from
Sure.
the people that were coming down the river, the toll.
Well, as we say, this was built around 900, the year 900, and it was a customs house for the empire.
Yeah.
So under Otto the Third.
Oh, I ought to
How
know
about
that.
Yeah, you ought to know that.
Yes, I ought to know that.
But you mentioned something that's very important, and that's a question I had when we were going down the river. I mean, some of these castles, they weren't even a mile apart.
No,
So those were the cities themselves, I guess, at the time. And the whole villages must have been there in the
Marvin,
castle.
who lives in castles? Isn't it the
Those castle folk.
but aren't they lords and ladies and kings and queens and somebody like that lives in a
Well, I
castle, or
don't-
can anybody?
No, I don't think
A
so.
rich,
I
a
mean,
rich baron or something that
yeah,
could live in a
probably,
castle?
or one of the guys who was going to build a castle there so that he could collect those tolls going
Oh,
up
well,
and down
that's
the river.
that would be
And there were so many of them.
I
mean,
know.
you had to have a chunk of change if you were traveling up and down the Rhine River, I think, Oh, boy, I'll tell you. Anyway, at least we don't have to worry about that today. But it turned out to be a beautiful day. As we said, a little bit of drizzle early in the morning, but it turned out to be a wonderful day. And in
I
fact,
prayed last night, the night
Oh,
before we left. Yes. Oh, dear God, please don't have it rain on us on the cruise.
No, it turned out to be beautiful. And, we have been on this Rhine River on trips before. Look at all the little, what they call the
Yes,
caravans or the little house trailers down there. Great vacation areas right here, too. We have been there, and I've gotten a sunburn once before off of this, sitting up on top of that deck. It has been so warm. And so I appreciate that it was a little cool the day that we went there, too. A lot of these castles are also, as we mentioned before, converted into hotels now. And so it is possible for a person to go ahead and stay in a castle hotel.
Do you think you'd like that?
I think for one night it might be
one
good.
night.
We did that. If you remember a few years back, we actually stayed one night in a castle, and that was I don't know if it was
Ireland?
Switzerland or Germany. No,
okay.
it was it wasn't too terribly far from this area, if I remember correctly. But this, to me, is so picturesque and so nice because these villages are not that large. And, of course, you're always going to see, which I'll take a picture of course, the village church, which everything just, centered
Revolves
around.
it, doesn't it?
And just beautiful. And there we go again, another castle up on
You look at the location of it, and don't you have to ask yourself, how in God's name did they get those rocks up there? How? They didn't have all the modern things that we have today.
That's right.
Although that one book I brought on castles, the construction of castles, I thought was quite good and informative.
Right, and we'll talk about that, on
later.
one of the other shows as such. We just passed one of the castles that said it was built in about the 11th century, and it was twice destroyed as a nest of robber barons in 1253 and 1282. So those folks were doing a little bit of damage around there,
I don't
weren't
think
they?
there's ever been a time when there hasn't been somebody robbing somebody else.
Oh, that's true.
Beginning with the birthright.
Yeah. Now look, on this particular castle right here, they're still trying to reconstruct some of that. As you notice that the scaffolding was up and down there, and this one up here on the hill, that one has also been made into a hotel too. So and the site is just so beautiful. And can you imagine what the view from being up on top of one of those castles of looking over the Rhine River? And this was now being redone also. There's a little tiny island right there in the middle of the Rhine. And boy, they could get you coming and going on that one, huh?
Yeah.
Really something, I'll tell you. But there are so many of these wonderful.
There's
you
the
can see there's a
hotel.
hotel. Yeah, it's right there.
Now I could identify that one because Hotel.
Right, and it looks great, doesn't it? I do think that would be fun, though.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
No. I wouldn't be able to get out at night and walk around and see, the little houses, little stores.
Well, you could walk down to the little village.
Well, where am I going to walk? How am I going to get back?
You have to climb up the hill.
I'm afraid. Walking down would be okay, but going back up again,
You
forget
have to
it.
climb up the hill again. And another little village and another beautiful
Yes.
church, as you can see here,
I'd
too.
rather be in the village and look up at the castle.
Would you?
Yep. But I'm not
to each his
romantic.
own, I guess.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know. But anyway, it's just wonderful, though, to sit here on the boat and just take this wonderful cruise. It is just absolutely amazing. We're going to do another cruise also when we go down the Danube River, and that's interesting as well. Although I think that there were more castles here on the Rhine. Don't you think so, Betty?
Yes.
I think there were a lot more castles here. And again, look how it's also landscaped out here. I mean, just beautiful.
Marv, do you remember what we used to say when I was another trip we took here? And we say ABC.
Oh, yeah, another bloody castle.
bloody castle. My
We got that from the Irish, I think, you know.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, when
but
we were in Ireland.
There's so
We
many
saw so many.
castles. And you say, oh, another bloody castle. ABC. So this is the kind of, you don't really feel that way, but you just are amazed at the fact that there are so many so close together.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. There really are. I mean, it's just amazing. If you were to take a look at a map of this portion of the Rhine River, you would see on both sides that these castles are fairly close together. And to me, I still don't understand that unless there were just so few people that and that they lived around, you know, the whole life centered around the castle. I mean, it must be where the village was.
So it would be like a serfdom. They had
Yeah.
their castle, and then they had the workers that did all of the growing of the stuff to provide food and what you needed.
Do you suppose that?
No.
No, I was going to say that the taxes or the tolls that were taken here by the people that you know ran and lived in these castles and these customs places. I imagine some of that probably went to whoever the ruler of the land was at that particular
sure.
time.
Lined many people's pockets, I'm sure. Now, Marv, that looks like a fortress, but that, you know, the that we have seen before, the long, narrow one. Now,
It was. If you look back, you'll see there were some other buildings back there too, and I would imagine at one time that was kind of a walled-in area.
Oh, yeah, that's right. They did a lot of walling in, didn't they? Well, they did. I mean, that
Yeah.
was the way they protected
Sure.
themselves.
Now, we mentioned earlier, you see a lot of these barges that are going up and down the Rhine River, and of course, here's one here, and they go, you know, from Germany and on into the other countries, especially I think the Netherlands as well, and some into Switzerland. So it's wherever the Rhine River seems to wind about. But there's a lot of commerce going up and down. And what surprises you too is every now and then you'll see a little car sitting up on top of one of these barges. Well, the people live on those barges. That's their home. And so when they, you know, park the barge, they've got their little car they can take and go off into the village, you know, or up and down the hill.
Well, this is a nice family, mother and father and daughter, and we had a great lot of fun with them. They traveled with me a lot, and just delightful people. But
I
aren't
think
they
our
all?
whole group of people
yeah,
was
aren't they
really
all?
wonderful,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. You notice too also that the railroad line runs right beside the river, and so there's a tunnel right here, as you can see, and the trains, of course, which are very fast and very efficient. You'll see them darting by, you know, going one direction or the other. This was a beautiful area over here on the side, and bicycles, people on the road, as you can see, sort of back in on the other side of where these trees are. And we saw this year in Europe lots and lots of cyclists. There were lots of them.
Well, that's the mode of transportation for a lot of people. Are you talking about pleasure? Just doing it for pleasure.
Yeah, and some people out doing racing as well too.
Yeah.
Now, Betty, this is the area around the Lorelei, and can you give us a little history on that?
Oh, Lorelei. We have one in Copenhagen too. It's the Lorelei. But anyway, I think, I do have.
That's the Little Maiden.
What's her? Well, isn't
Yeah.
that the same thing?
don't
She did the same thing. She
Did she?
lured the sailors to their
Oh,
death.
okay.
And this little gal, she was supposed to be so beautiful and had a magnificent voice. And she would sit there in the middle of the river as they turned the bend, and she would sing, and they would come and see this gorgeous woman, and the boat would sink then, right?
Well, they'd crash into
They'd
the
crash
side. Yeah,
into
right,
it, and
yeah.
that was how she
But you know,
brought them to their death.
now that's got to be a legend, though.
Oh, sure.
I mean,
Oh,
that
come
has-
on.
I mean, do you really think that there was going to be some gal sitting up there that
Well, Mark, of
actually
course
doing
not.
that?
But that's what makes it fun, and that's what I mean. Legends are something that keep other things alive. You know.
I guess so. I guess so. But there's a whole song, the Lorelei, as well. And of course, as you go down the river, they're playing that
They
song
play it,
about
yeah,
this place. Yeah.
Now
So-
that's a very nice view. See, I like the council way up there, and with the. Of course, it has to be high because it's for protection. I mean,
Well,
they,
not only that, you got to see who's coming up and down the river.
Yeah, that's what I
Don't
meant.
you suppose that you had somebody to look out up there and
oh,
say,
sure, they got
"Hey,
their binoculars. And
no. Well, it could be. Could have had one of those
No,
spyglass type things, and somebody's got to run down to the river and collect the toll.
money.
Yeah,
I don't think so.
You're not going to let that get by.
Oh.
No way. Look at these buildings. Aren't they beautiful?
Uh-huh.
Just
Yep.
beautiful. And so we're getting
Now
off.
we're getting off.
Yeah, we're getting off right now, and then we're gonna catch our bus again. But so we're at St. Gore. This is one of the little villages that's down on the Rhine. I think Betty, we stopped here and we had lunch here too,
That's
didn't
what I
we?
was thinking.
Yeah.
Yes, and we didn't know just exactly where to stop, and we went into the first one, and we thought, oh no, we don't want to stop there. So we kept on going, and we never really found out where we wanted to.
I
eat.
remember where I went. I went into a place and I saw they had apple
Yes,
strudel and
absolutely.
good coffee, and that's what I had.
And I went back to the first restaurant and had a salad.
Oh, you're so healthy.
Oh, I am healthy. I have
So
to keep
good.
healthy to
It's
keep
just
up with you.
disgusting.
Yeah.
I wanted the fattening stuff.
know.
Oh, so, and it had whipped cream on it too.
Oh, don't tell me.
Oh, it was
I
good.
mean, you
Re-
tempt
oh,
me,
that-
but I don't.
It was a
Sometimes
great
I do, but
strudel.
mostly I don't.
Oh, it was good. It was great. Anyway, we're just about coming to the end of our first adventure here on our trip to Europe, and we do want to remind everybody though that we have a lot of other trips lined up, especially for next year. And if you're interested in any of those trips, well, we want you to get a hold of Betty because some of those trips are kind of filling up pretty fast. We've got some exciting things scheduled for next year, things that I think that you will really be interested in. And so if you're interested, you want to give Betty a call. And we're going to continue, of course, next week too, as we continue with our trip to Germany, Switzerland, and Austria. Betty, you want to give your phone number, please?
I'd be happy to. 488-7443.
And the area code is 559. And so give Betty a call, and we have brochures on a lot of our trips, and she'll be happy to answer any questions that you have. So that's just about all the time that we have right now, but we will see you next week on the Adventures Travel Club television show. So until then, auf Wiedersehen.
Bye-bye.